A monument to one of the most storied figures in Greenville's history has recently been relocated from overlooking his grave in Greenville to Jackson. So if you want to see it in person, you'll need to make a visit to the Mississippi Museum of Art to see the Patriot. For almost 90 years, the Patriot statue stood over the grave of Senator Leroy Percy in Greenville. Recently, the statue has been moved to its new home in the garden at the Mississippi Museum of Art in Jackson. Percy's son, William Alexander Percy, commissioned the piece, and artist Malvina Hoffman installed it in 1930. Museum director Betsy Bradley says they're honored to display it.
The Malvina Hoffman statue of the Patriot that is now at the museum was commissioned after the death of Senator Leroy Percy, who lived in Greenville, Mississippi, was a U.S. senator for a few years, was a really important national figure in terms of banking, and had a cotton farm in the Delta. His son, who was a poet and a writer, William Alexander Percy, commissioned this statue for his father's grave site in the Greenville Cemetery. The family of Senator Percy, a few of them still live in Greenville, Mississippi, have been taking care of this sculpture for a long, long time, but the people who are left in Greenville are getting elderly, and they wanted to make sure that this would be taken care of for the long term. Their children don't live there in the Delta, and so they asked us if we were interested in displaying it here. And because of its importance in kind of the cultural history of the state, but also the work of this important American sculptor, we were thrilled to be able to accept it and to put it here.
Malvina Hoffman is known for her sculptures throughout the 20th century.
Malvina Hoffman is the artist who created the statue, and she was kind of ahead of her time as a woman artist. She went to France because she was very enamored with the art of Rodin, the important French sculptor, and she met him. She was in workshops with other French artists at the time, and then she came back to this country. She was an important American sculptor in the 20th century, and her work has been shown all over the world. If you look carefully at the statue, we've installed it so that people can walk around it, and on the back side of the installation are the engraved words of a poem by Matthew Arnold that William Alexander Percy chose. And so it's worth kind of taking in the whole installation because it gives you a sense of a son's tribute to his father as well as a sculptor's tribute to a person.
And that's not all that's going on at the Mississippi Museum of Art.
We're very excited right now to be showing an exhibition of quilts by African-American women from the South. Many of these have never been shown before. We have been collecting these textiles for a long time, but we were also very honored to receive a gift of 130 quilts from a very well-known folklorist and collector, Roland Freeman. And so we were able to bring them together to tell stories about Mississippi and the women who were here making these textiles, and really the story of the South as it comes forth. And it's really wonderful to see how almost everybody from different backgrounds has a story about somebody in their family who made quilts or who makes quilts, and sees this kind of working with materials like that as an art form as well as something that is functional and keeps you warm. It's a way that we can understand, the people who've lived here, the places, and we can kind of get a sense of what it feels like to be in Mississippi. And so that's a little bit different than just knowing the history, because it appeals to our emotions and our spirituality and our compassion and our sense of relationships with each other. It's up now in the Barksdale galleries and will be up through early April.